What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Future Revolution. So it's been a little while since we've engaged, but I felt this was an important time now more than anything. So let's jump right in. All right. So number one, the reason why I've delayed off on making this video is because I wanted to give the devs some time to see if they're gonna fix their shit. Essentially, right? You know, I've been really big on this update because I thought they did a lot of things right, namely some of the store items that they've given, and you know, the rollout for Wolverine didn't feel as stifled as it did for like previous like Magic and Wanda. They felt really, it felt intuitive. Players could roll over to the new character relatively easily. They could purchase new items for the character, so that way, you know, if you didn't want to roll over a character, you could. And to be perfectly honest, I think they did it a really well job because it helped facilitate some of the way that the game should be played, especially with this new idea of you playing the game and needing to level up multiple heroes, right? A lot of rewards were given, so that way players weren't so far behind. Like, I didn't need to, like, I was going into this and I asked you guys in the comment section, I was like, hey, you know what, do I need to re-roll a character? Do you guys think I should re-roll my Doctor Strange? And a lot of people were like, fuck it, just re-roll, you got more gold and, you know, you could get past it. And the good part is I didn't have to. Like, legitimately, I didn't have to. Like, if you look at my Wolverine, I didn't have to. I'm not. My Wolverine's not like outstandingly strong. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I'm gonna show you some of this. I wanted to give you guys an update video about it. He wasn't outstandingly strong, but he's still sitting at like 1.5 million power. Now, I did have a lot of like potentials and things like that saved up for the character. But overall, if you looked at my character in a nutshell, I didn't have like, I still got 5-star gear. I have one piece of 6-star gear. I didn't have like a full slew of 5-star. There's no nano gear inside here. I did utilize some of the badges that I already had inside the game. So realistically, there wasn't a whole lot that I did on the character. You know, outside of, you know, I didn't pay for any of this stuff. Like, realistically, this was tickets that I had saved up. It was it was items that I already had on hand from saving up. Now, the really good thing about this to me is that I believe that even without having saved up those items, I could have probably got like a 1 million, 1.2 million level Wolverine. Is that enough to get me to the in-game stages of what the power cap is basically in the game right now? The power cap basically in the game is like a soft cap of 1.7. How do you get to 1.7? Well, you look at the content that you currently have. That's where they expect most players to be able to play. That's Invasion. The power cap generally for that is about 1.7 million. Then you go over to like inside what is it? You go inside Battle Challenge, which I forgot to play this week. But if you go over here to Battle Challenge, then you can look at the power cap here, which is like the late game PvE. And this stage right here is about 1.9 million is the expectations due. I still haven't been able to clear that, right? So 1.9 million is the expectation there. And then obviously, you know, so think about it the same way like Destiny, right? There's like a soft cap, there's a hard cap, and then there is, you know, extra. So like, you know, your other players. Now, let's jump into my discussion about this, the future of this game and what we can expect. I'm not going to show you guys the article because you've seen Wolverthor probably do it, you've seen Indie Game probably do it, you've seen Cynic Alex probably do it. So there's not a whole lot to just rehash into the article. Obviously, the point is that the article stated that almost 70% of the staff that was dedicated to Marvel Future Revolution has been pushed to other titles. So other titles, right? So what does this mean? That means that you essentially are working with a skeleton crew of what I previously called the junior development team. 100%, that's still the way I view it. I still view that we have a junior development team there that are basically cutting their chops on Marvel Future Revolution. They have some wonderful graphic designers in the game, but they don't have it doesn't seem like they have a strong idea and understanding on how to market and deliver to on a platform for players that are going to be engaged. That's just the truth of the matter. There's a number of reasons why I say this. You notice that there was a big shift in terms of how the game was marketed, from you needing to just invest in one character to now you need to invest in a multitude of characters so that way you can compete. Here I am with a $1.9 million Doctor Strange and I can't beat this goddamn team, and I won't beat this damn team because playing against players, once you get past that silver tier level inside of here, basically almost becomes impossible unless you have invested in characters across the board. Even sadder though is that a game like the squad battle that got pushed is the perfect example of pay to win, right? It's the perfect example of understanding where they're currently setting with the game and the idea in this game of pay to win. And I'm going to explore this so that way you guys understand something when we move into the anniversary conversation. This is one of the reasons why I feel like the game is where it is. The development team behind it is just not keen. So notice for here that I just lost this battle and all I got were 3 tokens. That's it. 3 teamwork stone tokens is all I achieved for that, right? Now I'm going to go back out of here because I want to exit. So notice that all I got were 3. So now if I had won the battle, that's a demotion in rank for me. If I had won the battle, what would I have received, right? If we go inside here, we look at the ranking rewards for this and stuff like that, you can see that in the tier that I'm at right now, I basically, for a victory, I would have gotten 9 tokens, right? So I'm essentially receiving less than a third of the rewards for playing the same content. Even worse is, like I've said this before in my right, in my review of this specific game, go take a look at it. Marvel Future Revolution, more pay to win squad battles, right? Is that essentially inside this game mode, playing the same content, investing the same amount of time, I get a defeat, I get 3 teamwork tokens. I get a victory, I get 9. So it's not, it's legitimately, it's a third of the wins, right? On top of this, players who are choosing to pay, not that I think many players are, especially the way that this is an increasing intermittent interval for how much crystals you need to invest in, but a pay to win player could invest in this mode and get 10 more battles per day than I could as a free to play player. So that means you've got 10 more times to earn those teamwork stones, right? Now, what are those teamwork stones used for, right? So when you look at ultimately overall, you're going to be like, well, teamwork, what do I want to do? Can I, increase the barriers that I have? I can increase my recovery time, my skill gauges. I can increase a lot of things inside here that comes to investment. That means also paying for things like potential reports and stuff like that. Obviously, pay to play players are going to have more of these rewards, and you're getting them ahead with some of the teamwork stones. There's no way for me to catch up when you say you're giving me 6 runs, you're giving him 16 runs. So if you did that, you would look at basically there's more than 100% increase in where that pay to win player could sit versus where the free to play player can sit. There's no point where the free to play player is ever going to be able to catch up to the pay to win player by skill. This is just not going to happen, right? Especially when so much of the character design inside this game, the character build out, is set around paying to win, right? It's like literally you just drive a pay to win scenario inside here. So what does that get you to, right? So ultimately, this is the bad part about the game, because when you come in here and you're looking at like, maybe I can pay a little bit to get ahead and do things, a lot of the store has remained stagnant, has remained problematic because it is really, really marketed terribly. And player retention numbers are 100% distinguished inside the game, because you automatically will notice that, like, I have not hit 50 some odd players in this game in quite a while. Like, it's been quite a while since I've hit 50 some odd players. The large majority has been me hitting about 45 and then seeing players go away after a week and they leave. And that's the problem in this game, is player retention. You get players that come in, they hit the 120 cap or the 110 cap, then they realize that they need to get training time tickets and things like that in order to level up their characters to the the final leg of the race. Then they have to go inside here and look at, well, I don't have uniforms and things like that. It's terrible, right? And unless you're already ahead, unless you're already involved in the game, then you come inside here and you quickly realize if you don't have a storage pool like I probably have in terms of storage pools, you're probably not getting where you really want to get in terms of this game. That's just the truth of the matter. That's not me, you know, saying anything, or that's just the truth of the matter. It's terrible, you know what I mean? So you have to take that into consideration. That's all I'm saying. You have to take that into consideration. So when I look at the game from that perspective, and I have to say to myself, we have now entered a phase within Marvel Future Revolution where it was released a year ago on August 25th. It is now September 5th. From that report, we understood that they had an anniversary event in mind for the month of August. Now, we didn't get it. We completely blew past a first year anniversary event. No marketing for first year anniversary. No anniversary event, unless the Wolverine release was meant to be an anniversary event, which they did not specify. So that would go back to my same point about we have a terrible marketing team. So you basically, no anniversary event. I don't know how many games I've played over the years mobile, but it's been enough that I have never seen an anniversary event blown. Never. So now, there's a couple of people that are of two different minds. So like I said, Wolver Thor did a video concerning this, and he's been kind of going in on it. You know, like he's got a lot invested in the game. I kind of understand. Meanwhile, you've got like Cynic Alex, and he did a video of it. He stopped playing the game, you know, months ago. Like probably like 2-3 months after release, because the writing was kind of, you know, there for most players to understand what the nature of the game was. It kind of felt like a cash grab kind of game because the prices were so exorbitant. So here goes the problem with this overall, right? Is that there's two kind of schools of thoughts here. You can go to the extremes of one side or the other. Cynic Alex is advocating that, you know what, if you like this game, continue play the game, you know what, but be cautious about what you spend money on. We reached this point when Marvel Realm of Champions were canceled back in like March. We reached this point on plenty of other games. We talked about it inside Marvel's Avengers before it was sold to the Embracer Group. I remember the days of Marvel Avengers Alliance on Facebook. We hit that fever pitch point. I remember the biggest one of all, Marvel Heroes Omega, which basically went through the same thing, right? And here goes the point, right, is that these games can be canceled at any time. You just don't know, right? And so what you have to ultimately look at overall is where's the game headed and where's the game at for me? Right now, the game's not been in a good place that I've realistically wanted to spend a lot of money on the game, so I haven't. I pulled back spending about 5 months ago. My suggestion to you is that you do the same. If you've been spending little dimes here and there, then, you know, then choose whether or not you want to continue to do that, but be very cautious that the game may be headed towards its end, right? Now, here goes the truth of the matter, is that like Cynic Alex said, some people are going to say, well, that's just screwing over the game. That's not my responsibility. That's not my responsibility to just shell out money because developers mishandled an IP that was set to make money. This game looks far ahead, a bit better than Marvel Future Fight. It comes with a team, or at least leadership from the Marvel Future Fight dev team there and Joe Lee. But you've mismanaged this because most of this relies on the fact that this mall was just outlandish in pricing from the get. That's just the truth of the matter. You can cut it any way you want to, but that is ultimately the truth of exactly where this game went wrong, was this Marvel mall. It was terrible. You could abide, you know, game content errors as long as you have good play. That's just the truth of the matter, right? We've got dog water modes. We've got nothing in here that's going to basically keep players in there. It's even worse when the game was mostly centered around having PvE-oriented open world gaming, right? Which that was never going to work. You've had plenty of games over the years that have shown and proven that, you know what, mixing PvP with PvE does not work, and they did not understand that. We've literally, and it's worse because there's Korean developers, and Korean developers were one of the largest people. Go look at Pearl Abyss. They quickly came to realization that no, there are players that want to PvE and there's players that want to PvP, and you have to separate the two. Trying to merge the two just simply does not work. It's even worse when you create it around a pay-to-win environment, and then players can come inside here and they can basically treat you any way they want to, because that's what they're getting off on. They're getting off on the fact that, hey, you know what, I got some scrubs to basically, and it's not even necessarily scrubs, because it's just, you're never going to match skill with that wallet. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're at 2.13 million power because you've basically paid a whole lot, that's not your skill. That's why I hate seeing some of these build videos from some people where it's like, hey, you know what, this character's fucking really great. No, your character's set at 4 million power. That's not the average of what the player is. So anything you do is gonna look fucking outstanding and awesome in the face of that. Like, that's just the truth of the matter. You know what I mean? Like, especially in a pay-to-win environment. So Thor had a different opinion. He's got like this thing like, let's buy a truck to try to get some kind of interest about this. Let's, you know, pool together as a community. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not my responsibility, nor do I believe it's the community's responsibility to try to generate communication from a developer who has not tried to communicate with you in over a year of a game's release. Communication has been minimal at best since the release of this game from the development team at Marvel Future Revolution. At best, the content creator core and the usage of the content creator core is the perfect example of this. The absolute perfect example of this. There was literally no help, no communication, even with the content creator core. There was no content creator core giving content so that way they could, you know, facilitate the marketing of the team. It was basically being a core just to be in a core. Like, we just threw something together just to throw something together. And it's quickly like run its course. So no, I don't feel like it's our responsibility to purchase a truck or generate money for a truck so that way we could have it parked outside Netmarble Monster Studios to be like, hey, are you guys communicating with us? What? No, that's just not it. I'm gonna purchase a truck to get it, to try to force a developer to get. Have you ever been in the friend zone of a relationship? Have you ever like tried to talk to someone who's not interested in you or been friends with someone? That is exactly what that is. It's like, no, I'm not gonna call it, you know, what people normally call it these days, but there's no reason to do that. That's like literally begging, like for, you know, for attention from somebody who just doesn't care about you. Like, they've literally stated they don't care about you. I'm gonna be honest with you. Your content creator core was shit. All the people that joined that basically got baited into joining that and they did nothing with it. And then even worse, to show you how much they haven't communicated with you, they just completely skipped the first year anniversary event. There's no first year anniversary event. They just completely skipped it. When have you seen that in a game? When have you seen that? So this is not a matter of like free-to-play players begging for something that's supposed to be free. This is like a standard across the board in the industry, right? And they just completely missed the mark on it. They have already made that point. Now, whether that's because of the upheaval with everything else going on inside there, who knows? But that just layers in more groundwork for you to understand you need to be careful how you're spending money in this game. I will agree with Cynic Alex in this much, right? Play the game for what you determine you're getting joy out of. Play that. Don't try to do any more and any less, because it's just not gonna help you. You know what I mean? Like, ultimately, you trying to generate more money for the game or something like that, or you trying to generate money for a truck, it's not gonna help. It's not gonna help. That's the fucking truth of the matter. There's not enough players here. And the truth of the matter is, what you still have hanging around in this game is a lot of whales who have invested a shit ton of money, who really don't probably want to go anywhere, because I've invested a shit ton of money. And then you have like some dolphins like me who create content, and you've got free-to-play players that are in and out of the game. You know what I mean? Like, the numbers alone say it. It is not competing with a game that is literally 7 years old. It's not competing in terms of revenue. It's not competing in terms of player base. It's not competing. It is just not competing. And it is a great looking game, but that's all it is. It's a very nice wrapping on a piece of shit. So overall, you can't shine up a turd any more than what a turd is. A turd is going to always be a turd. So you have to be the one to make that decision for yourself. Me, I've already pulled back from doing some things, and I will invest where I see investments need to be made. That's not a goddamn truck. I don't see that as an investment worth my time, worth anybody's time for a company that has not really produced in communication with us. If this was like, you know, Destiny going away, if this was like MFF going away, if this was like, you know, Marvel's Avengers going away, maybe not Marvel's Avengers, but if this was some of the other games that I play frequently where developers were communicating, sure, maybe I'm like, hey, we need to stack together as a community. But what community? You don't have a community as big as a 7-year-old game. So what community? It's fleeting. It just is. Sorry to say that. Be careful, guys, how you spend your money. I hope you guys get to enjoy the content that you are enjoying. Enjoy it the way that you want to enjoy it, and continue playing for what you enjoy. I'll bring content to you guys for this game because I'll probably continue doing the same until, you know, otherwise. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time, peace.